I don't drink that much on tour. I have a few drinks. I have a few, like one or two before going on stage just to loosen me up. And then I actually have a hard time drinking after the show. I just sip a few beers and I'm tired and I want to go to bed. But the biggest thing that I always try to do every day is I try to go for a big long walk in nature. So I'll open up Google Maps and I'll walk to the green spot.
Mm-hmm.
And I find myself there. Typically, I do that alone too, where I just have like my own little moment of being out, not in the venue, not at a bar, not with people, by myself, and just take in a little moment of reprieve from noise.
Matt, it is wonderful to see you. You are in tiny Luxembourg right now.
Yes.
You came off of a stage not too long ago. They make you do interviews. I can only imagine how bad this bus smells right now.
That's pretty good. No, honestly, the bus is in good shape. Everyone is very like older and mature on this tour, so everyone is acting like adults, and we're all taking care of the bus, and the bus drivers are amazing. It's actually quite tidy and doesn't smell too bad.
Apart from that, the bus driver is really great. I don't believe a single word of what you just said.
That's really not that bad. Yeah. Maybe I just
Awesome.
don't smell it anymore.
That is possible. That is possible. All right, awesome. I mean, tour is going. Has been on this tour for quite a while. I think you have like 5 or 6 shows left. I think mostly in Germany.
5 shows left. That's right. Yes.
Yeah. You like the great package amongst them. You know, young upstarts from Belgium, Carnation. Are they behaving themselves a little bit?
They are wonderful. I call them the beautiful Belgians is what I call them. My favorite Belgians, but that's because you're not around.
Oh, sure.
No, they're super cool. They're very, very sweet, well behaved. They're not in the tour bus, but we hang out, before or after the show. They're wonderful. The singer puts on all that makeup. Simon, he's wonderful.
Yeah.
The blood and the chains. He's very patient going through all that every day. I just have to brush my hair, and that makes me annoyed. So,
well, I mean,
he has
there's
far more
a lot of hair
than I do. Yeah.
There's a lot of hair to brush, though. There's a lot of hair to brush.
There is, but
Awesome.
the blood, and he's very patient. But they're wonderful. So Carnation, Warbringer, who are just wonderful. John Keeble is a legend, iconic frontman. What a character! And then Decapitated have been crushing. Just so cool.
What a package! What a package! Yeah, we had Warbringer here in Toronto not too long ago. They wrapped up, I think, their tour a day before they went out again with you, so they must be tired by now. All right, Matt. People that watch this show know that this is not the first time that I get to interview you. You and I have spent many hours together, both on Zoom calls, but also doing that. So I was like, okay, well, we have a cool new album coming out. And so let me prepare some good questions for Matt, which I have. I've got 5 good questions for you. But then I was like...
5 shit questions.
Well, here's the thing. I asked an AI engine, what are the worst questions you could ask Matt McGachy? And pumped them out. And so I'll let you choose every time if we do a good question or a bad question. How's that? Is it choose your own adventure today? This is fun.
Okay, so let's start with the good one, and then we'll flip back and forth, maybe.
All right, that sounds good. You know, let's jump straight into this album, and like as we were, a little bit catching up before we start recording it about, our phones and computers and all the kind of good stuff. And that is a perfect segue to the topics that you're talking about here on this album. This whole album is like a giant feed the machine metaphor of feeling too connected, or maybe as simple as just problematically connected with the devices around us and social media driving that. I want you to share a little bit more about that, but specifically, I know that you've shared in the past that it's at times been difficult to prioritize what's important in life, and especially as you're also doing the podcast, and that was becoming quite overwhelming. How biographical, is this story that you're telling?
I think it actually is quite autobiographical. It's I'm addicted to my phone. It drives me crazy. It's something
Mm-hmm.
that I find myself doing. I run the podcast. Social media is important to promote it, to connect to people, to book other guests, to answer emails. It's just never ending. And then with all the responsibilities that I've taken on for Cryptopsy, it has just amplified and doubled that, tripled that, to the point where I find myself doom scrolling when I shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm always like, oh, let's just see if I got that email, and then all of a sudden 20 minutes of your life is just gone. So definitely very real, and a big part of my life is this addiction to social media. I had this crazy dream before we dropped As Gomorrah Burns, where I came up with the whole concept for this new record. The name of the record came in the dream, and it was just too perfect of like a metaphor of how us as humans interact with social media. So the
Mm-hmm.
dream is as follows, for the people that haven't heard it yet. Is a person wakes up every day and works on a machine, fixes the machine, makes the machine more efficient, always trying to just make it better all day long, grueling hot sun, sweating, and then at night they strap themselves into the machine and the machine tortures them and they love it. And as it's torturing them and they love it, they're like, "Oh my God, how can I make this better tomorrow?" Because they don't want to die. They just want to
Mm-hmm.
enjoy this sadomasochistic. This is two words so far we haven't
Sadomasochistic.
gotten, Jasper. Thank you.
Hey, we're elevating YouTube here. Like metalheads are not stupid people. We use big words.
I'm trying. But they want to just keep making it better. So the next day they wake up and then they fix the machine again. And it's a cycle that just continues until they basically either go too far or they reach this level of perfection where they feel like they can stop. So I had this just the most vivid dream. And then I like analyzing it and thinking about it. I was like, okay, the human race is the person, and social media is the machine. So
Mm-hmm.
you know this better as much as I do. We spend a long time creating social media posts. It's not something that we just type out and put out there. It takes time, and we think about it and we craft it and we tinker with it and we fix it. And I show the band members and they send me the revisions of things, or the social media crew at Season of Mist. We go back and forth tinkering, making it more effective. And then we post it and we sit back and go, and just take in the response, positive, negative, lack of response. Some ideas just don't work. And then we torture ourselves analyzing what did work, what didn't work. And then the next day, what do? We wake up and we implement those changes, trying to be more impactful, more engaging, trying to showcase this fallacy of who we present ourselves, this fake version of ourselves that we put
Mm-hmm.
forth on social media is so heavy. And then like people like you and I, we meet and we have deep discussions with people, so it's different than just engaging with someone on social media. We actually peel back the layers of like the protective shell of that fallacy and actually get to the true humans. But other people that I've met, like there's a social media girl, content creator. There's a content creator on the store called Mihela, and she's wonderful. But we've only ever seen each other in social situations where I was on. I was Matt from Vox and Hops, Matt from Cryptopsy. And she realized very quickly on this tour that I'm a crazy introvert and I don't stay up late and I don't party until 4 in the morning. I disappear when there's too many people. I don't want to be there. I can
Mm-hmm.
stand on stage in front of people. I'm fine with that. But to be around too many people when it's loud and boisterous, I just want to go to bed. So she was like realizing that, oh, this Matt that I've discovered on social media, the Matt that I've seen presented in social situations is actually a fallacy. It's like a part of me for sure, but it's like an amplified version of myself. So we're all crafting and creating these amplified fallacy versions of ourselves and interacting with these fake versions of ourselves that are becoming friends online, but we like each other for sure. There's a true essence to the connections that we make online, but it's not like meeting face to face. It's completely different.
Yeah. And as a bit of a side or a follow up there, like there's a lot of, for somebody that studied years of Latin and ancient Greek, there's like a lot of Greek tragedy in this story. Would you want to take this to the next level, like graphic novel, movie, or what have you? This specific concept?
I would be very interested in seeing the Malicious Needs music video. I could see that being expanded a little bit more into like a Black Mirror episode.
Mm-hmm.
I was like watching Black Mirror when I received like the first cuts, and I was like, holy shit, this is the Black Mirror episode.
Yeah.
This is so sick. Like the guy really, Gornos, the director, is from France. I sent him the lyrical concept. I sent him the lyrics of Malicious Needs because I wrote a whole album about the machine concept, but I also wrote a song about the dream, which is weird that I did that, but I just felt I had to. I felt like I had to get it out of me. And the song is so like rhythmical and machine-like that it just fits. So it just works. So he took his own little spin on this concept and made it even more deranged with all the weird sexual connotations and like the whole torture sex realm, which was not a part of my original idea, but he definitely made it very disturbing in a good way, which really fit with Cryptopsy and the ideals behind the record and the David Cronenberg-esque practical effects that he used. Back to my dream, the closest thing that I can think inspired my dream is a short story that I read 15 years ago, which I reread before coming on this tour because I knew I'd be doing a bunch of interviews and I wanted to talk about it. And it's a short story by Franz Kafka called The Penal Colony. And it's about this visitor that goes to this island, and there's a soldier there that greets him as he's coming into the village. And outside the village, there's this very old, strange torture device that the soldier's job is to take care of and run and keep it up to par so that it doesn't fall apart. And there's a new governor on the island that doesn't approve of this old torture device. And the way that the machine would torture you in the short story was it would take 16 hours to kill someone. And basically it was like the person would lie down and there'd be these little needles that would write your crime onto your skin, but just more and more deep and more brutal over the 16-hour course. So that's the only thing that like really think that tied it to it. A lot of people have been like mentioning the 9 Inch Nails music video. I haven't seen that. I don't remember seeing that. But it's interesting. It's cool. I never have vivid dreams. We like craft beer too much, and you don't hit REM sleep that often.
There you go. That's true. That's true. I let you be in control if you want to dive deeper into that.
That's a good question. No, bad question.
All right, bad question. How much money have you made of your Juno Award?
Oof, 0. There's no money from winning. There's no money from winning a Grammy, a Juno. Sorry. At first, we thought there was some money, and then I wrote Dan Cleary from Stryker, and he was like, "No, there's no money when you win a Juno Award." That's a true story because I thought there was like maybe they throw us $10,000 or something, but no, there was nothing. It did open some doors to get some government grants, which was helpful, but would those doors have opened nonetheless because we had all the paperwork and numbers that are needed for things like that? Working with the wonderful Jesse Mathewson from Ken Mode and his brother that help a bunch of Canadian bands get government grants. I don't know, but no, not much money.
you're on tour right now, and just because you mentioned, like, yeah, we like to drink, and we might not hit REM sleep, but at the end of the day, you don't want to party too much. You don't want to be out there with a ton of people until the wee hours of the night. Although I think last time that you and I hung out, some angry
It
people
was
living in
fun.
the building around us came to tell us that, hey, we do want to sleep at this point, so shut
That
the
is
fuck
true.
up.
That is true. That is
Um,
true.
that is true. But
With the
not only
donuts,
you,
you bought Flo. You got Flo donuts.
he was hungry, and it was what, 2 o'clock or something like that. I forget. Um,
I'd forgotten about that till right now.
so it's maybe two things, or like we'll see if there's a follow up here. But you not only do you bring this up now, but in your own interviews, you do talk a lot with other artists about mental health and making sure that you don't go completely crazy. What is that, for you? You're on tour right now, and I know it's important for you to focus on these things, but gruesome schedule, and here you are, like, where this could be your off time and you could be relaxing, but you have to be on right now and you have to continue working, and it is going to be a late night, without the fun, even because that's just tour life. So what are you implementing on this tour that you've learned over the
Keeping
years?
keeping me healthy. No, no, for sure. I don't drink that much on tour. I have a few drinks. I have a few, like one or two before going on stage, just to loosen me up, and then I actually have a hard time drinking after the show. I just sip a few beers, and I'm tired, and I want to go to bed. But the biggest thing that I always try to do every day is I try to go for a big long walk in nature. So I'll open up Google Maps and I'll walk to the green spot.
Mm-hmm.
And I find myself there. Typically, I do that alone too, where I just have like my own little moment of being out, not in the venue, not at a bar, not with people, by myself, and just take in a little moment of reprieve from noise. I haven't listened to many records on this tour, even though there's a bunch of great records that came out. It's hard to listen to music on tour because you're just constantly bombarded by
Right.
sound all the time. I did listen to the new Rivers this morning, and I really enjoyed it. And the new Callous Cowboys I listened to. It came out 2 weeks ago. That's about the only thing I listened to. But just walking to a green spot and trying to be in nature is something that soothes me. I try to eat healthy. I'm vegan, so that works in my favor. I work out a little bit with Flo and the guys. I wish that I did work out a bit more, but sometimes you just want to sit on the couch and doom
Yeah.
scroll. But
There you go.
but
Feed
no,
the
no,
machine.
it's
You have to feed the machine. Come
I
on.
gotta feed the machine. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I try to mindfully. There's a lot of juggling, obviously, on tour. Like I take care of a lot of the band stuff. I'm still a father, so I call my kids, which I'll be doing after this interview, and reading them a chapter of a book, which I do every day, just to connect with them and spend some time with them. There's my family, my mom, my sister, my wife. I'm constantly juggling 1,000 things and trying to make them work. But sometimes it's not easy. But
There you
I
go.
make it work because to the best of my capabilities every day.
Yeah. And the cash, like the quiet time, but also like when you are hanging out with some friends, to making it super, super casual. At least that's what I've seen every time that we've hung out, and that seems to be like for everybody in the band. Is that like a necessity to balance out the? I mean, playing cryptopsy music is not easy. That's a bit of a workout.
It's
It's
like a
almost like
completely different person that does that, though.
right,
It's like even tonight I was so zen right up until I only get into show mode when I it's the same pair of pants, but I have two pairs of pants. But when I put my show pants on, that's when business starts, and then I'm
right.
I'm I'm in a different mindset. And some members get ready earlier than others. I tend to get ready like 10 minutes before I step on stage because as soon as I
Okay.
put those pants on, then I'm a different person. And now that person is coming out. But we do like to chill. We like to go to bars, me and Chris. We like to sit there, drink nice beers before the show, one or two, just to like taste some local fares and come back, lie down for a bit after supper, wake up from that little rest period, and then wait until I put my pants on, and then it's time to
All
get
right.
up there.
Number one terrible question, according to AI, to ask you. Do you also like miss the real Cryptopsy a lot? You know, when they had Lord Worm still?
I wasn't a fan before I joined, so I can't say anything. It's not that Mark Wahlberg rock star movie where I was plucked out of the crowd. I wasn't a fan. I decided to join hoping to elevate my metalcore band that I was in at the time. That didn't work. Instead, that band broke up, and then I got shit on by all of the death metal community, and then I had to claw my way back up to where I am now. But
So
we're doing okay now.
let me turn that bad question into a better question, because it is, I think, an important one, and especially following what we were just talking about, your mental health and your personal like journey. You know, whether or not you were a fan before joining, it's always hard for any musician, whether it's a singer, but definitely for a singer, but for anybody joining an established band, to not only like to find that balance between the legacy and finding your voice or contributing your voice. And that must also be a crazy struggle. I mean, we were just jokingly saying like, oh, I got shit on by a lot of people, but you know, that must be tough to deal with as well. Do you remember when it kind of happened? Because now it feels like the band and this album also, like the whole album sounds very balanced, and it kind of feels like a representation of a band that seems to be in a good spot, if you will. But that takes time to get there. Do you remember when that moment happened that you were like, you know what?
I do.
I'm okay now.
Oh, I'm okay now. No, I thought you were going to say the moment that I thought that I realized everyone hated me. I know that moment, but I also do know the other moment. It was
It was both.
MDF 2017 when we did None So Vile in its entirety. It was on Devastation on the Nation. We were doing None So Vile on that tour, and the crowd just went off. And I like finished the set, and I was like, "Thank you so much for finally accepting me." And the crowd was like, and then that was it. That was the moment. And since then, everything has gotten a little better. I was like really confident leading into the pandemic. The pandemic sort of took some wind out of the sails.
Mm-hmm.
But then As Gomorrah just was so well received, and the touring that we did with it was really well received, that I feel comfortable and very confident and happy. And Chris in our band is the biggest hater. He's the worst. He hates everything about us, and he always thinks like a hater. There's nothing that a hater can say that Chris has not thought of already and told us. So to have him tell me like, Matt, you're one of the best I've ever worked with. You know, he's recorded so many people. It just boosts my confidence, and I still deal with the weight of trying to be the best death metal vocalist that I could be every day. But it's something that I'm working towards. I'm very confident with my voice. I've done almost 30 shows in a row, just about, and there's no letting up. I'm in great shape vocally. I'm confident. This record is by far my best vocal performance in terms of lyrics, in terms of vocal delivery, in terms of expanding my range just a little bit, just stretching the elastic just a little bit tighter, way more deep gutturals, much more clear pronunciation of the standard Matt guttural, cool highs, and then adding these new extra really, really highs has been a very, very cool addition to my arsenal.
Mm-hmm. Is then, in a way, I mean, we spoke earlier that the concept story of An Insatiable Violence is really, first and foremost, a commentary on our addictions with social media. But can we then also not interpret this album as a metaphor to your journey as a singer of Cryptopsy?
Maybe, yeah, maybe. I haven't thought about it that way, but it could be that I'm an insatiable, violent vocalist. But
Well, like especially in those earlier days when you felt like you had to undergo this hate, if you will, but
Yeah,
working
but I
every
wasn't.
day to
I
fix
wasn't
the.
giving people what they wanted. I wasn't being a death metal vocalist. I was being a metalcore vocalist that got put into a death metal vocalist
Yeah.
position, and just learning along the way. It's. Luckily, I'm very, very grateful that Flo and the rest of the band stood behind me, believed in me, and knew that I was the right choice. And they've stuck with me all the years, because other bands would have fired their singer after the Unspoken King, and
Right.
they would have said, "This guy, it was all him," and just found some little death metal singer.
Aren't you a little old for a death metal guy?
I feel like it. Sometimes I feel like it. I'm turning what? I'm turning 40, 42 this year, I think.
You're a baby.
Yeah, yeah, 42 this year, coming up soon. I still feel good and young, and nothing is hurting. My knee was bothering me a bit earlier in the tour, but that went away. One of those tour gripes.
Yeah. I mean, you're on a serious note, like you said, like I've been developing skills that I wasn't really mastering before. You've spoken about your vocal range and abilities, and going deeper with your growls and all the kind of good stuff. Making sure that we're not at the end of the tour yet, but we're getting close to the end of the tour. You're still in good shape. Um, you and I, we've spoken both on record and off record about the machine that is Flo, and how he has continued to evolve and train. From that relationship, like, are there things that you've taken away from that, seeing Flo just nonstop being basically, I think you've called him like a pro athlete at times.
I speak about him like an Olympic. My new spiel. I got a new spiel.
Oh, no
He's
shit.
an Olympic athlete.
Yes, exactly,
But every
exactly.
once in a while, the Olympic athletes can't compete in the Olympics anymore. But we're not there yet. But we're planning towards that, the 10-year plan. I do watch him, and he's inspiring because he's crushing at 52, 51, coming up in the next few weeks. And he is constantly evaluating his body. If he plays a show and something was more strenuous than it needs to be, he immediately is in this like research phase as to what he can be doing physically to mend that ailment. It's very interesting. So luckily for myself as a vocalist, I have no issues with my voice, and I don't have to do that little tackle thing because that would stress me out, honestly. But he's a machine.
Hmm.
If there's something that's not working the way he likes it to work, he will be working towards it to find a mend, and it won't take many days. He always finds a way. He's crushing at 51, which is very impressive playing Cryptopsy music.
Yeah, exactly. Matt, I could ask you a million more questions, including some really bad ones, but I don't want to take time away from your kid's probably asleep at this point. Oh no, you said you're going to do that after this call. So you need to make sure that you can connect with them and read a chapter of the book. It's fantastic seeing you. I'm very jealous of everybody in Europe for having that package run through, and I hope that we can get the same one here. It'll be good to see you next time in person. I hope that these last few shows go fantastic, and I can't wait for everybody to, you know, explore this new album of a more zen. I don't think that's the right word to describe Cryptopsy music, but the most, or maybe the more zen band and balanced and groovy record that you guys are unleashing in just a few weeks on us.
Well,
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much for
It's
your
by
time.
far, it's definitely by far the most digestible Cryptopsy record, which is something that's crazy to say that we've accomplished. That it's still Cryptopsy, it's still balls out extreme, but
Oh yeah.
it's far more digestible. The groove elements, the melody, the repetitions of sections for just a little bit longer than the past. It's exciting, and I'm happy that I got to sit down and hang out with you, Jasper. You're always a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of the day, my friend.
Thank you. Cheers.
watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it and subscribe to the channel.